was born from a deep conviction that education is not a privilege for the few, but a fundamental right for all. Its purpose and mission stem from the understanding that poverty should never determine a child's future. Established under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, Title I stands as a national commitment to close the achievement gap between students from low-income families and those with greater advantages. It recognizes that children who face economic hardships often come to school with fewer resources, less support, and greater challenges. And yet, with the right help, they can achieve just as much as anyone else. The mission of Title I is simple yet profound: to ensure that every child, regardless of their background, reaches high academic standards. This isn't only about test scores or grades. It's about giving each child the tools, encouragement, and opportunities to thrive intellectually, emotionally, and socially. Title I aims to provide additional support where it is most needed, from early literacy programs to tutoring, from teacher development to family engagement initiatives. It is a hand extended to those who might otherwise be left behind. A reminder that equity is not the same as equality. Some need more so that all can stand at the same starting line. Beyond funding, Title I carries a moral and civic responsibility. It challenges schools and educators to see potential where others might see problems, to invest time, attention, and love into students who need it most. Every dollar and every effort under Title I represents a belief that talent, intelligence, and hope exist in every neighborhood, and that when we nurture them, we strengthen not only individual lives, but the fabric of our entire society. That is the heart and soul of Title I's purpose and mission. The allocation of Title I funds is both a strategic and compassionate effort to reach the children who need educational support the most. The program focuses on ensuring that resources flow toward schools and districts with the highest concentration of poverty, where the educational playing field is often uneven. Funding is distributed through a detailed formula that takes into account the number of students from low-income families, using census and school enrollment data to identify where the need is greatest. This approach ensures that federal aid is not spread thinly or wasted, but directed toward communities where it can have the most profound impact. Once the funds reach the districts, schools determine how to use them through two main approaches: school-wide programs and targeted assistance programs. In school-wide programs, used when at least 40% of students come from low-income families, the funding is used to improve the entire educational environment. This means better teacher training, enhanced curriculum, updated learning materials, and support systems that benefit every student. In contrast, targeted assistance programs focus specifically on the students who are failing or at risk of failing. Here, funds are used for tutoring, mentoring, or specialized interventions that give struggling learners the personalized help they need to succeed. Behind the technical funding formulas lies a moral intent: to ensure that no child's learning journey is limited by financial barriers. The allocation system seeks not only fairness but justice, striving to correct the deep imbalances that poverty creates. Every dollar of Title I funding represents a belief that opportunity should not depend on a child's zip code. By strategically channeling resources into the hands of educators and schools that serve the most vulnerable, Title I transforms funding into a lifeline of hope and empowerment for millions of children across the nation. The principle of supplement, not supplant, is one of the most important foundations of Title I, ensuring that federal funds truly make a difference rather than merely filling existing gaps in local or state budgets. This concept emphasizes that Title I money must be used to add to the educational opportunities already provided, not to replace the funding that schools are obligated to provide. In essence, Title I is designed to enhance, not substitute, the basic education every student should receive. This distinction matters deeply because it protects the integrity of the program and guarantees that the extra support reaches the children it was intended for, those who face the greatest educational disadvantages. To put it simply, if a school or district is already required to fund a certain service, program, or teacher position, Title I money cannot take over that responsibility. Instead, it should be used for as additional instructional support, such as hiring extra reading specialists, providing after-school tutoring, purchasing supplemental learning materials, or offering professional development for teachers. These added resources aim to elevate learning experiences beyond what standard funding allows. The rule ensures that federal aid creates genuine progress rather than maintaining the status quo under a new label. This principle also fosters accountability and transparency in education spending. Schools must document clearly how Title I funds are being used and demonstrate that they directly benefit low-income students. By requiring schools to supplement, not supplant, the government reinforces a shared moral responsibility. Local communities must continue to invest in their children, while the federal government provides additional support to lift those most in need. It is a safeguard against complacency and a promise that Title I funding will always serve its true purpose: expanding opportunity, enriching instruction, and building a stronger, more equitable education system for every child. One of the most remarkable aspects of Title I is its commitment to fairness beyond public schools through the provision of equitable services for eligible private school students. This principle ensures that children from low-income families who attend private schools are not excluded from the benefits of federal support simply because of where they study. Education at its heart is about nurturing human potential, and Title I recognizes that poverty does not discriminate by school type. Therefore, the law requires that eligible private school students, along with their teachers and families, receive equitable services comparable to those offered in public schools. These services are carefully designed to remain secular, neutral, and non-ideological, respecting the separation of church and state while still extending educational support. Examples include tutoring, counseling, special academic programs, and teacher training, all funded by Title I but delivered in a way that upholds fairness and transparency. Importantly, the funds do not go directly to private schools themselves. Rather, the local education agency, LEA, manages the services and resources to ensure compliance and equity. This process guarantees that the help truly reaches the students who qualify, not the institutions they attend. A crucial component of this equitable service provision is every year's meaningful consultation between public school officials and private school representatives. Before any decisions are made, both sides must collaborate to identify students' needs, agree on the services to be provided, and establish how they will be assessed for effectiveness. This cooperative dialogue embodies the spirit of inclusion that Title I promotes. By extending its reach beyond school systems and institutional boundaries, Title I reaffirms a universal truth: every child, regardless of where they learn, deserves the chance to succeed, grow, and fulfill their God-given potential through education that uplifts and empowers. Accountability and assessment lie at the very heart of Title I's effectiveness. The program's ultimate goal is not just to provide funding, but to ensure that the resources lead to measurable improvement in student learning and academic achievement. Every school and district receiving Title I support is responsible for showing how the funds have helped students, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds, make real academic progress. This focus on accountability reflects a deep belief that every dollar spent must translate into better outcomes for children, not just in numbers but in genuine understanding, confidence, and opportunity. Assessment serves as the key tool for monitoring this progress. Schools are required to use reliable measures, such as standardized tests, performance assessments, and classroom evaluations to track how well students are mastering reading, writing, math, and other core subjects. These results are not meant to punish or label students, but to guide teachers, administrators, and policymakers in making better instructional decisions. By analyzing data, schools can identify which strategies are working and which areas need additional support, ensuring that interventions are evidence-based and responsive to students' actual needs. Transparency also plays a major role in accountability. Parents, teachers, and community members are encouraged to stay informed about how Title I funds are being used and what outcomes are being achieved. Schools must regularly report their results and share their plans for continuous improvement. This open communication builds trust and reinforces a shared sense of responsibility. Accountability is not about bureaucracy, it's about commitment. It reminds educators that their work changes lives and ensures that Title I remains a living promise to America's children that with fair assessment, honest reflection, and persistent effort, every student can rise to meet their full academic and personal potential. Title I stands as one of the strongest efforts to promote educational equity, yet it continues to face challenges that test its reach and effectiveness. One of the primary issues is the uneven distribution of resources. While the intent is to serve the most disadvantaged students, not all districts have the same capacity to use funds efficiently or provide the necessary local support. Some schools struggle with limited infrastructure, staffing shortages, or administrative barriers that make it difficult to implement programs effectively. Ensuring that every dollar reaches the students who need it most requires ongoing vigilance, planning, and collaboration between federal, state, and local levels. Another challenge lies in maintaining intrinsic high-quality interventions. Funding alone cannot guarantee success. What truly matters is how those resources are used. Schools must continually invest in effective teaching practices, evidence-based programs, and professional development for educators. Without strong leadership and accountability, Title I efforts risk becoming fragmented or short-term fixes instead of lasting transformations. Additionally, there is a constant need to balance flexibility with accountability. Schools must adapt programs to their local context while still demonstrating measurable progress. Perhaps one of the greatest opportunities for growth lies in there's community and family engagement. Title I recognizes that education does not happen in isolation. When families, teachers, and communities work together, student achievement rises. By involving parents in decision-making, offering literacy nights, and creating open communication channels, schools can transform Title I from a funding stream into a community movement. Despite its challenges, Title I continues to be a symbol of hope and justice. Its success depends on collective commitment, on educators, leaders, and citizens who believe that no child should be limited by circumstance, and that with faith, effort, and equity, every student can have a brighter future.